Hey everybody, it's me, Bryson Booker, and guess what? Yes, I'm back. Yes, I'm alive. Yes, I'm well. And I'm even better because guess what? Yesterday I celebrated my 21st birthday. I'm 21. I'm an old man. If you haven't really noticed that already, I'm a very old man. But with a new decade of life pretty much on the horizon, and now it's here, it's time for some new audio gear. Am I right? I mean, why not? Let me tell you guys something. The past year and a half, I've kind of rediscovered what good live sound should be. And I really don't think it should just be filled with pretty much products that are just the standard. I think nowadays, especially nowadays, live sound can be so much better than what some of us make it to be. It's kind of, it's to the point now where 99% of the shows nowadays should not sound like crap. But they do. Why? Because people are used to one way of doing things. And they're not willing to experiment, and they're not willing to try things that are new. But those who do try different microphones, and different techniques and different things, I'm telling you, some of these shows that I've been going to have just been unbelievably good in terms of sound quality. But then there's just other shows, that just don't sound that good. And is it because of the gear? No, you can't just blame it on the gear. It's also the engineer. But I will say, you all, nowadays it's so much easier for us as live sound engineers to get the sound that we've been dreaming of. That you needed to have certain compressors, certain analog mixing consoles, or certain microphones to achieve about 20 years ago. Now you can do it with almost any console, any microphone, and any piece of gear that you come across. No excuses. And so a part of that philosophy that I have was completely upgrading my microphones to ones that, to me, sound a bit more accurate to the human voice, which I'm using right now. I'm using this Sennheiser E835 to record this video. And I got 3 of those. That was the biggest upgrade. I got rid of some of my Sures. I still have an SM58, but I think really the mic of choice for me now, guys, is Sennheiser. And for my 21st birthday, I've used this device at school so many times. It was my boss that got me hooked on it because he got hooked on it from other guys. And it has just really made a difference into getting it right at the source. Before any EQ, any processing, any multi-band compression, all of that other crazy stuff that's on digital consoles nowadays that some people really don't need to use in order to make stuff sound good, before any of that comes to be, there's this. The Rupert Neve RNDI from Rupert Neve Designs. This is the holy grail of DI boxes. Why? Because it's not your typical DI box. It's not the standard DI box. It is an active direct box, and there have been active direct boxes on the market for years now. But this one is a very special one because it's not just an active DI, but it's an active transformer field DI. So what does that mean? Rupert Neve, Mr. Rupert Neve, Professor Rupert Neve, Dr. Rupert Neve, Genius Rupert Neve, took his great designs that he's used in many of his own analog consoles, as well as Portico series processors and things. He took that same transformer design and that same bold circuitry that he uses to get that nice, rich, thick, sweet sound, and he put it all in one box for studio musicians and live sound engineers like me to haul everywhere. That guy was so nice that he decided to put his almost boutique and, slightly premium sound in a pretty decently affordable box that anybody can grab, or maybe grab a couple, maybe 6 or 7 of them, and take to any gig. So that's what this is. It's an active transformer DI box with Rupert Neve technologies to give that nice, sweet, thick Rupert Neve sound that as soon as you hear it. As soon as I plug this into my keyboard, you'll know what that sound is. It's kind of similar. If you're in the live sound game like myself, Rupert Neve's sound is kind of similar to Midas. I would say it's Midas before Midas, in a sense, because Rupert Neve started making consoles and things a little bit before Midas consoles got off the ground. So it's the Midas sound, just a bit more premium than that. And it just sounds so good. It sounds so musical. It sounds so sweet. So the design of it is pretty simple, guys. You have an input jack and an output jack, and then you have this special switch right there that says, instrument or speaker. And so what this allows you to do is not only you can just use this as a regular instrument direct box for keyboards, basses, guitars, electronic drums, whatever your heart desires, but you can also send speaker level inputs into this. So, for example, you use this if you want to get the authenticity of your amplifier, which is always a great thing for me if I can get the sound of the amp from the guitarist. You can get that sound into this DI box, post distortion, and then it'll send it out to your mixing console. So you have a special method of doing that. They also give instructions in the manual on how to do it. It's pretty simple. You just got to make sure you take the extra precautions so you don't damage your speakers or damage your amplifier. But you have that option as well. So 2 options. Whether you go instrument or whether you use it alongside your guitar amplifier, you're going to get great sound. It's just going to be awesome. Not to mention that this thing gets a heck of a lot of gain, dude. You can put, I don't know, a cannon into this, and it's not going to blow it up. Just, make sure you don't put a cannon in it. But anyway, you know what I mean. You can put screaming amounts of level into this thing, and it's going to handle it just fine. And they make sure they advertise that. If you go online and look at the specs, they're definitely advertising that it can get screaming amounts of level in it. But it's actually true. It's not going to forfeit the level, and you're not going to forfeit quality. It's going to sound just as good as you putting, I don't know, a little ukulele in it, just like it is. It's going to sound as good if you put like a metal cabinet going through it. It's going to sound great. And then on the back, you just have a ground lift switch and an XLR out to go to your mixing console. So currently, I am plugged into my Mackie Mix 5. Now, I do have a better console. I have a Soundcraft Signature 16 that I could have used this with and I could have demoed with. But I'm going to really show you guys what this thing will do if you don't have the money to get a Soundcraft console or any top-of-the-line console. If you just have money to get, a pretty decent Mackie and you get one of these things, this is the difference that it'll make. So I'm going to be using my keyboard, which is over there. I'll bring it over. I'm using a Yamaha PSR 740 keyboard. I'm just going to give you just like simple little tones. I don't have a bass with me. I don't have a guitar with me. But I believe that there are other demos on YouTube that show this thing being used with bass. I think there's one that shows it being used with guitar. And there's also one that shows it being used with synths. They make the mono model, so this is the mono DI, but they also make a stereo model. So you can plug your keyboard and different things like that into the stereo model. If you want to use this one, obviously it'll be mono, but that's okay. So I'm going to use my Yamaha PSR 740. It's going to be in mono. It won't be in stereo. Going into my Mackie Mix 5, and I'll start by playing the keyboard with nothing, just going straight into my Mackie Mix 5 with no Rupert Neve DI. And then the second clip that you'll see will be using the Rupert Neve DI in action. So I'll do a couple of those, and then I'll let you be the judge to see which one sounds the best, either the Mackie preamp or Rupert DI. So here we go. Let's go.